98fm's Dublin Talks. Call 6797 981.
And a very good morning to you. It is, what day is it? Oh, it's Wednesday. And this is Adrian Kennedy, and this is 98fm's Dublin Talks from now until midday today. I hope everything is good with you. Now, in a moment, I'll be speaking to a woman who has come forward with her story of feeling sexually harassed by her estate agent. Last week, you may remember, TD Ruth Coppinger told the Dáil that she is receiving more and more disclosures about landlord sexual exploitation in the rental sector. She also added that the housing crisis has created the perfect storm for predatory landlords. And we want to find out how big a problem this actually is. Have you had any experiences with creepy landlords, for want of a better word, or estate agents? And we're about to hear a story of an estate agent who kind of went above and beyond in terms of his professional relationship with a tenant. Text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to us right now to 0877 98 98 98. Have you had an experience with a landlord from hell who abused his or her position as a landlord? Call me now on 6797 981. Text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. I'm joined on the line by Kirsty, who is a lady who has gone public about her story of something that happened to her in the rental sector. And when you hear her story, you will agree it's completely inappropriate behaviour. And in this case, not by a landlord, but by an estate agent. Kirsty joins me on the line. Kirsty, welcome to 98FM.
Hi.
Kirsty, what made you decide to go public with your story?
Well, just basically I saw that Ruth had mentioned it last week about the landlord that was sending inappropriate messages to his tenant Laura.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got in touch with Ruth to say, look, that's not an isolated incident. That's happened to me, and I still have the messages, and I wasn't sure, what way to deal with it.
Okay, so take me back to the actual incident itself and your first contact with this estate agent.
Yeah, so the house that we were living in prior to that, the landlord was selling up. So I was searching for 10 months. I couldn't find anywhere, and I found this place. The first thing that was a bit weird with him was that he asked to come to the house that I was actually living in.
Right.
Because he wanted to view my house to see how well I had it kept.
A little bit odd, yeah, but
yeah,
so he wasn't happy with the reference from the landlord.
Oh no,
he wanted to come and actually see the place for himself.
Yeah, my references were, there was no problem with them. He just said he was extra cautious. I don't know, but then we did a viewing as well, actually, of the property, the one that I rented. Mm-hmm. And so for the 10 months that I'd been viewing properties and, meeting with estate agents and landlords, normally as a single mum or as, a woman on your own, they don't really entertain you. They're normally kind of, going over to the couples and showing them around and stuff. Like, it's hard to even get a conversation out of them, especially when they know that you're paying with HAP.
Yes, okay. So there's an automatic, and it's not the first time we've heard this, but there is an automatic discrimination against HAP tenants.
Yeah. So this guy, when I turned up for the viewing, this guy had everyone standing outside as usual, and he just kind of pointed at me and said, "Come on, I'll show you around first," and left everybody standing outside. And I thought, that's never happened before. So we just walked around, and I said, the house is lovely. Obviously, I'm really interested because, I've been searching for 10 months. And he said, look, the house is yours if you want it. And he hadn't shown anybody else around. And I was delighted just to finally get somewhere. I just jumped in my car and went home, sent him on all my references and stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's when he came out to view my property then. So then it just went on then to when I had to go and like sign the lease and pay my deposit and then go back and sign like HAP forms and stuff. It was when the messages started. So he was messaging just saying like, oh, I said I was running a bit late, and he said, oh, don't worry, I'm here. The dinner's on and the wine's cooling. Do you know, that kind of, those kind of messages. And I just tried to like really laugh it off because I didn't want to like get on his bad side or to, you know, like upset the situation because I really needed somewhere to live. So I just laughed it off and was like, oh, the kids are starving as well, do you know, that kind of way. And he just said like, oh, blowing out the candles or something, you know, that, a response like that. And I was just, oh, whatever. So I just went, and I did have the kids with me, thankfully. Like, I didn't go and meet him on my own because I did get a creepy vibe. So yeah, that's kind of it. I moved in then, and he just kept calling really unexpectedly, like just would just ring and be like,
at this stage you'd already moved in, so theoretically you'd have no need to ever have any contact with the estate agent again.
Yeah, well, the estate agents managed the property.
I know, but you'd moved in, and
so he just kept finding like the smallest or silliest reasons to pop in. Like, he'd ring and say, "Hi, I'm just driving past. I have this form for the like BRTB, or I have this other form, or I've found this bunch of keys. Are they off your house?" You know, just really ridiculous kind of excuses to call in. Like, even at one stage he had his kids in the car, like left his kids sitting in the car, came into the kitchen. I was cooking dinner that day actually, and after he left he messaged me saying, oh, by the way, what was that you're cooking? It smelled lovely, like you keep a really nice home.
So tell me about the time then that he didn't want to leave, basically.
Yeah, so things kind of turned a bit sour then. There was no heating in the house, so I was trying to get the heating sorted. So when things took a bit sour, he threatened me with a notice to quit. There was an issue. I just want to clear this up as well, because it's kind of not made clear in the Irish Times article. It said about my rent not being paid. That's not correct. There was the very first month of my payment when I very first moved in. My rent was slow going through, but my rent was always paid every month the whole time I lived there. So it was slow going through, and there was an issue with the heating, and he was threatening me with a notice to quit. So he landed down to the house, and I'd already been talking to the girls that evening. Everything was already sorted. I'd sent him an email. I'd said, you know, look, I've got everything sorted. Like, you don't need to call. And he said, oh no, it's too little, too late. I'm calling anyway. So he called to the house. It was dark. It was October. Gave me my notice to quit, and I just said, that's okay, thanks very much, like, you can leave now. And he was like, oh, you don't need to be like that. And I said, look, you've got nothing I want to hear, and I've got nothing else to say to you. You've given me my notice to quit. Now can you just please leave? And he was so intimidating. He just stood up against the counter, like he just wouldn't move. He just stood there, like, and I just keep saying, look, can you just please leave? I've got nothing else to say to you. And this kind of just went on, and I thought, you know what, actually, I'm leaving. And I just walked out of my house, and I went up and got a neighbour to help. And when I went up and got the neighbour, obviously he left and drove off then.
Do you think there's any connection with the notice to quit?
Yeah, so it turns out, obviously, he didn't follow through with that notice to quit. Like, I stayed there for, you know, a year. And this was the first couple of months in. He didn't follow through with the notice to quit, so it was an empty threat. The actual homeowner didn't even know he was threatening me with a notice to quit, which he has no right to do without their permission. So yeah, I think it was just to scare me, and it did scare me. It petrified me, you know, having someone so unpredictable that, like I said, has keys to your home. I was terrified being there.
Do you believe that this guy deliberately targeted you because you were vulnerable? Because I understand during this whole time, sadly, your boyfriend passed away.
Yeah, he did, yeah. Yeah, I do. Because when I went to the neighbour, she got another girl from around the corner to come around to me. And she was able to tell me this guy actually has previous. He's done this to another tenant who had to go to the guards. It was quite bad.
Right.
So, yeah, she knew his name before I even said anything.
Now, obviously, the whole thing with Ruth Coppinger bringing out that story last week of the creepy landlord,
Yeah.
This is a similar case. You obviously believe that this is a problem in the rental sector, that... now, obviously, the vast majority of landlords and estate agents are decent people, but because people are so desperate for housing, they're putting up with it, yeah.
Yeah, I really do. And that's the reason I spoke out, because obviously the girl last week kept her identity hidden, and Ruth asked me would I speak out, and straight away I was like, no way, like, especially with everything I've been through, I've enough going on. But then I thought about it. I talked to my teenage daughter and I was like, you know, what should I do? And she was like, Mum, you really have to speak out. She's like, we're out of that situation, but there's other women that obviously aren't, that are stuck in that situation right now. So you have to speak out. So I did. I said to Ruth, look, I've decided, I spoke to my daughter, I'm going to speak out, because it's terrifying. Like, you do feel pressured to put up with that crap, like, and feel like you have to just be nice to someone who's given you unwanted attention just because you need to keep a roof over your head. That's not acceptable.
Where you should have been able to literally say, piss off, leave me alone, don't come bothering me again. But because...
And then where would that have landed me?
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Because you were in a situation that you were a HAP tenant, which is difficult in itself, getting somewhere to rent, you didn't want to rub them up the wrong way, basically.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah, it really is. Like, it... I just hope that if there's other women that are tuning in this morning and they're listening to this, that are like going through this, that they know that they don't have to put up with that. You know, get in touch with Ruth or myself, or just turn to a friend or a family member and just stand up to them.
That's enough. That is awful that you feel, or you were made to feel, that there was nothing you could do about it. And as you said, you shouldn't have to put up with that. You should be able to tell them to shag off without fear of repercussions, without fear of your tenancy being withdrawn or any of that.
He did withdraw the tenancy in the end. So he gave me notice to quit 12 weeks after my partner passed away, on the grounds that the homeowner was moving back into the property, which she didn't. And the property was put back up for rent for $850 a month more.
Did you go to the guards about it?
No, I didn't, because I went to Ruth, like, I haven't had the strength to even speak about this, you know, over the last 2 years. So this is kind of really just taken off in the last couple of days here. I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, I think I will.
You think you will?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear, because that same creep is probably doing the exact same thing to somebody else in the exact same situation as we speak.
Yeah.
And won't be stopped until he's stopped, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, especially knowing that he does have previous. So obviously that builds a bigger case or something, I don't know.
Yeah, and just looking at some of the texts that are coming into us, a lot of people texting us to say you should go to the guards, and it's not too late to go to the guards, and don't let this guy get away with treating you like that. Like I said, and fair play to Ruth for highlighting the sort of exploitation that some tenants are experiencing in the rental sector, because because they're that desperate to put a roof over their heads. That's the worry about that whole story. Well, look, fair play to you for speaking publicly, Kirsty. I think it's important that people share stories like this so that people are aware you don't have to put up with this, no matter how vulnerable you feel. And if you're in that exact situation right now, speak to somebody, and you can contact somebody like Ruth Coppinger, who's been exposing this, what she described as a perfect storm for predatory landlords. They are few and far between, but the ones that are few and far between need to be stopped. Yeah. Kirsty, thanks very much indeed for talking to us on 98 FM. All right, bye-bye. There you go. You shouldn't have to put up with that. And I mean, some people are saying there are two sides to every story. Obviously, there are two sides to every story, but this landlord hasn't been identified. We haven't named him. In fact, I don't even know his name, so he can't be identified. But if he is carrying on like that, that is not good enough. That is not acceptable to make a woman feel intimidated in that way. You're listening to 98 FM's Dublin Talks. This is Adrian Kennedy. Yesterday, if you were listening to the programme, we had a very interesting conversation about a 4-year-old that wants to dress in a princess costume for the Halloween party. He's not a boy. Well, anyway, you heard the conversation yesterday. Well, as a follow-on to that conversation, one of our listeners got in contact with us directly after the show yesterday, wants us to bring up something slightly different. We'll deal with that next.
98 FM's Dublin Talks with QuoteDevil.ie, car and van insurance specialists for difficult to insure cases. 98 FM.
And this is Adrian Kennedy with you until midday today. Now, we need your help and your advice. Yesterday, if you were listening to the programme, we had a very interesting debate with a parent who was concerned about how to deal with her son displaying gender issues at the age of just 4. And straight after the topic aired yesterday, we received a post on our Facebook page from a lady called Kathy, who is also looking for advice. She's the mother of a 14-year-old boy who has known he is gay since he was 12. Here's the problem, though. Kathy's son has wanted to tell his friends in school for the last year that he is, in fact, gay, and Kathy has spent the last year trying to persuade him that it would be the wrong thing to do and that it will leave him open to bullying. So have a listen to this message that came in on our Facebook page yesterday. Please just use my first name, says Kathy. I am just listening to your show about that mother having problems with her son, and I have an issue. Not the same, though. My son is 14 and is gay. We've known he was gay since about the age of 10, and we have always been supportive of him and encouraging of him. However, for the last year, he's wanted to tell his friends in school, and every time he's brought it up, I've told him not to, because it will leave him vulnerable and open to slagging and bullying. I am proud that he's gay, and I want him to be proud, but I think he should wait until he is at least 17 so he can handle it a bit better. School can be a very cruel place, but after listening to your show now, I'm having second thoughts. I feel like a bad mother now for encouraging him to keep his sexuality locked up. All his family know, by the way. It's just his friends in school are very immature. Am I wrong? Every day is a learning day when you're a parent, so I'm reaching out to you for advice on how to play this. And that is from a lady that we're simply calling Kathy. And I would like to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Is she a bad mother for telling her son not to come out to his friends in school? Should she be encouraging him to do it? If you've ever had this experience, we would like to hear from you on 6797 981. Maneen Griffith is the CEO of the organisation Belong To, and she joins me on the line. Maneen, welcome to 98 FM.
Good morning, thank you.
I'm sure that's not the first time you've heard a dilemma like that.
No, it's a common question that we hear from parents, and the best answer that we always say is to that is another question. Well, who would this help? You know, keeping it to yourself and not sharing it with friends. I mean, most of us grew up in a country where it was illegal to be gay, and so of course we're naturally very worried and very protective of our children. We want the best, and we want them to be safe all the time. But sometimes keeping a secret to yourself can be, detrimental to your own health and well-being. And we know that shame and stigma and all that reinforces the message that that there's something wrong with being LGBT, and sometimes that can lead to higher incidence of depression and anxiety and other issues around or surrounded that.
Because of the kind of shame factor almost.
Exactly,
yes.
Exactly. Now, this what I would say to this mum is she's not a bad mum, and she's doing the best for her son. She wants to keep him safe, and she loves him, and he's obviously a really brave and amazing young man. He's already come out to her and the rest of the family, and that's great. Lots of young people, don't have the courage or don't have a family environment where they can come out to their family. So that's already, something really positive, something that she should be really proud of her son for and of her family. What I would say to her is the three pieces of advice, really. One is, if he's not already linked into an LGBT youth group, to go onto our website, belongto.org, and have a look at, I don't know where Kathy lives, but there are plenty of LGBT youth clubs around the place, and hopefully there'll be one near her so that he can find a group of friends, LGBT friends, so he can just be himself, and that'll really help with any, isolation he might be feeling or loneliness he might be feeling. The second is that there are parent support groups out there, and the details are on our website as well. So I would really strongly encourage Kathy to get in touch with some of the mums and dads and guardians and carers around the country that have LGBT young people in their families. And the third is that I would look at go onto the school's website and have a look at their anti-bullying policy. All schools have an obligation now since 2013 to have an anti-bullying policy in place in relation to all forms of bullying, including homophobic bullying. So if she has a look at that, that should help her put her mind to rest. And if it's not there, that she could go in and talk to the principal about that and encourage them to make it available on the website for her and for other parents. The other kind of things in the school, there might be an LGBT group in the school. The school might participate in Stand Up, which is a yearly anti-bullying campaign in November in post-primary schools across Ireland. So these are kind of things that might put her mind to ease. I'm not going to promise, I don't know the school, obviously, that her son's in. I'm not going to promise that he will be safe. But these are some of the things that she could find out herself, to put her mind at ease, and then have a chat with her son about this. Every person's situation is different. Some schools are brilliant, some are not so good in terms of protecting students from homophobia. But these are some of the kind of practical things that she could...
Okay, but in terms of... there's no hard and fast rule on what is the right thing to do here in this particular situation.
I think, like I said, you have to go back and to ask yourself the question, well, who would this help by him not telling? If he really wants to tell, is it because he feels lonely? And maybe that it's important for him to tell his friends and not to be hiding. So, it really has to be led by the young person. He's known since he's 10, so he's had plenty of time to process it.
So the point being, if he really wants to, well, then don't stop him, basically, which is what she has been doing.
Yeah, and I would, but put in place, I suppose, for herself and for himself, look into the kind of the practical realities of the school to make sure that he is going to be safe, and that there are protections. There are protections there. Like I said, there's a legal obligation for schools to make sure that students are protected against all forms of bullying, including homophobic bullying. But it's good for him to know his rights as well. If he comes across anything that's upsetting or harmful for him.
All right, Meninu Griffith, CEO of Belong To, thank you very much indeed for talking to us on 98 FM. Now, let's get some of your reaction and your comments on this. And let's have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note from Jason.
Adrian, I'd just like to ask, why does that young lad feel that he has to come out to his friends in school? The rest of his classmates don't feel the need to proclaim their heterosexuality, so why does he need to proclaim that? It's his own business, fair play to him. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't need to go around telling everybody. School is cruel.
Okay, and then let me go to Aoife. You're on 98 FM. Hi, Aoife.
Hi, how are you doing?
Now, you've heard Kathy's message. Her son's 14.
Have indeed.
He is gay and he wants to tell the world, basically. He wants to tell his mates in school, but she's been actively discouraging him for the last while. What's your view on this?
Well, I feel myself, I have 2 boys myself, I just think school can be cruel and children can be cruel, and I do think she should, his good friends are actually going to know what he is, so he doesn't need to go and shout it about, because I think in school he'd be just bullied and tormented, and I honestly feel myself, if it was my son, I would encourage him not to tell. I would,
but isn't that making an issue of something that in this day and age we don't make an issue of anymore? Somebody's gay, so what?
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same. So why does he have to shout it out? His real friends and his real group of people.
No, sorry, I actually meant the exact opposite. Why should he have to hide it?
Well, I don't think he should hide it. As I said, people are going to know, but I don't think he should. If he can keep it to himself in places like school and things like that, he won't be bullied. That's what I feel.
But why should... You see, this is the whole argument here. Why should he have to keep it to himself as if it's something to be ashamed of?
Because of the bullies that are out there, to be honest with you.
But those bullies are there anyway. Do you know what I mean? Bullies will find a reason to bully you.
Yeah.
Bullies sometimes don't need a reason to bully you.
Yeah. No, I do agree with you on that. Why should he hide it? He's probably not hiding it, but... people are going to know who he is themselves. But I do feel if he does say it out, well, look, I'm gay, shout from the rooftops, whatever. But I do feel that people will target him then.
Okay, but have a listen to this message that I've just gotten from Karen, and she says, in relation to the mother telling her son not to come out in school at the age of 14, I'm a gay woman, and from personal experience, I chose not to come out in school as kids can be cruel. I actually waited until I completed my leaving cert. Things are different now, as that was over 10 years ago. People are a lot more accepting now, and who knows, chances are some of his classmates are also gay, have gay parents or gay family members. If he feels he is ready, nobody should tell him differently. This is a personal journey for him, and if he has thought long and hard about it and has such a good support system at home, he'll be fine. People will judge no matter what. Let him be himself in all aspects of his life. It will be more of a relief to him than you can imagine. What do you say to that, Aoife?
Yeah, actually, listening to that now, coming from somebody who was in the same situation, and it is 10 years on, things are changed, but I suppose it's just a mother instinct. You're afraid.
Yes, she's terrified that her son will be bullied.
Yeah,
yes.
And I would be the very same. It would be hard going to bed at night wondering how he's feeling after telling people, is he taunted in school because of it? But as that lady said, it is 10 years makes a big difference on how things have changed. Maybe the school would be accepting. Like if she does know the kind of children that are in that school, and maybe that's where she's getting it from.
Yes,
that
perhaps.
Oh God, maybe not. Maybe it's the school that he's in. She knows what the boys are like. Maybe she has encountered some bullying in the school, whether it be about him being gay or for any particular reason, for wearing glasses, but maybe that's why she has the fear. Maybe she should talk to the school and the teachers and see what they feel,
Okay, stay there for 1 second. 6797 981 is our telephone number. Text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98, like Keith just did.
Let's be honest. If his family know, if his mother knows, I'm guessing his friends know as well. Just come out.
Okay, he says just come out. And Derek says it's 2019, not 1940.
Adrian, it's 2019 now, it's not 1940. Let the young fella come out. Let him, he is what he is. It's not different to what it was like when we were in school back in the 80s and 90s. People are accepting of it now. You are what you are. Be proud of it.
Are they totally accepting, Derek? I wonder about that. I don't know. Yes, I believe we're much more accepting as a society today than we would have been in the 1940s. But totally? This woman obviously has reasons for fearing. Or is she and maybe people like Aoife, are they looking to what it was like when they were in school? And forgetting that actually the world has moved on in leaps and bounds since then, especially in this country. We have marriage equality here in Ireland, which would have been unheard of when I was at school, certainly. Call me right now on 6797 981. Quick break, more of your calls in just a moment.
98FM's Dublin Talks with QuoteDevil.ie. Insurance specialists if you've open claims or too many penalty points. 98FM.
And this is Adrian Kennedy. If you were listening to yesterday's programme, you would have heard us having a conversation about a 4-year-old boy who wants to dress as a princess for the Halloween party in school, and we had a whole conversation about that. On the back of that, we were contacted during the programme yesterday by a lady called Kathy, and Kathy has a 14-year-old son, and her son is gay, and we've kind of known about this since he was about 10, and we've always been supportive of him and encouraging of him, she said. However, for the last year, he's wanted to tell his friends in school, and every time he brought it up, I've told him not to because it will leave him vulnerable and open to slagging and bullying. I'm proud that he's gay and I want him to be proud, but I think he should wait until he's at least 17 so he can handle it better. School can be a cruel place, but after listening to your show this morning, I am having second thoughts. I feel like a bad mother now for encouraging him to keep his sexuality locked up. All his family know, by the way. It's just that his friends in school are very immature. Am I wrong? And that's what she's asking. Sinead, you're on 98FM. Hi, Sinead.
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Your point on this is if his friends are good friends, then they'll be cool with it.
Well, I mean, I think so. You know, and as most people have already said, if they really are his friends, they will already know, and it's not going to be an issue. Now, I understand where the mother is coming from, you know, with the bullying aspect and all of that, but I mean, in this day and age, you know, it's not a big deal. It's not a big issue. You know, there's thousands of gay people out there. Nobody bats an eyelid. So I think if he feels he needs to come out and he's ready to talk about it and tell people, let him talk about it and let him tell people. It's other people's issue. It's not his issue. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the biggest,
okay, let me read this message that's just come into me, and it says, this is ridiculous. Why is there a need to tell people you're gay in this day and age? There's no need to. He is what he is. There's no need to tell the world your personal business.
And I agree, there isn't. And there shouldn't be an issue with anybody's sexuality, and there shouldn't be an issue with anyone to feel the need to tell people. You know, especially in this day and age, like, it is what it is, and it's your own personal business. But unfortunately, that stigma is still there, where people feel that they need to come out and they feel that they need to let people know that they're gay for, you know, whatever reason.
Well, in fact, that message actually went on to say, what does he hope to achieve by doing this? Because nobody cares nowadays. There's no need to come out because it's absolutely accepted today.
Yeah, but maybe he feels that he needs to tell people and he feels that he needs to open up about it. Maybe he feels he needs to talk about it. Do you know what I mean? And that's half the problem, is that if the mother is saying that she doesn't want him to come out, well, then he's just suppressing things that don't need to be suppressed, and he's suppressing issues that will later on in life transpire to be bigger than what they need to be. Do you know what I mean? There's not enough people out there that allow people to talk about stuff. This is where all the mental health issues come from. Because people are saying, oh no, don't tell that person, don't tell that person. I mean, at the end of the day, Adrian, if he's gay, he's gay, no one cares. And if he's going to tell someone in school that he's gay and this person in school is going to slag him, that's that other person's issue, it's not his.
I know, but he's the one that gets the brunt of the slagging or the bullying or whatever.
Yeah, I get that, I understand that, but let's call a spade a spade. You could walk into a job with a bow in your hair and get slagged for it. Do you know what I mean? You can walk into work with a beard that looks ridiculous and you can get slagged for it. People can walk into school with, you know, replica runners that are not the latest runners and get slagged for it. You're going to be slagged, you're going to be bullied, no matter what.
Okay, so you don't see an issue with this young fella telling his friends that he's gay, but not necessarily running around the whole school telling everybody, but certainly his close friends.
But I mean, yeah, but I mean, like that, if he feels like he needs to tell people, let him tell them. If he feels like he wants to open up and talk about it, let him.
Okay, stay there for 1 second. Let me go to Drumcondra, and Katie's on the line in Drumcondra. Katie, you were bullied for years in secondary school for various reasons. So obviously you would be concerned, would you, that it could be an issue for him?
I would be concerned, definitely, because it is an issue in every post-primary school. It's the age that the kids are at that they're going to bully, and certain people will stand out as bullies. But I think getting him to suppress who he really is isn't going to help him in his future life, because it's kind of taken away part of his identity if he can't just be himself in front of other people, afraid that he might be bullied.
Okay, so bullies will be bullies regardless. Is that the point?
Yeah, they're going to find someone, because that's the kind of people they are. They're going to find someone, they're going to target someone. But I think my best advice to him is just be himself, stand up to him, have a smile on his face and be himself. Because if he isn't himself now, he will never be able to be fully himself. Because when you're growing up in post-primary school, it's the most important year to develop who you are as a person.
Yes, and I would agree with all of that. But a lot of people are arguing, not against him necessarily coming out, but saying that there is no need to anymore because people are generally extremely accepting if somebody is gay. So there's no need to shout it from the rooftops anymore.
Yeah, and I think that his friends will know. Like myself, one of my friends, when we finished secondary school, and it was a good few years ago now, she came out to me and she said, I'm gay. And I said, I knew that the whole time we were in school, but I'd just be afraid that if his friends didn't know and he was getting bullied, his friends would be able to back him and stand up for him, and that would be an important part, even just to come out to his closest friends and say, look, I'm gay. And they probably will say, oh, we kind of knew that, in that sort of way. But it depends on the school as well, and it depends on the region, whether there's more pupils or less pupils and stuff like that. But I think he needs to be honest to his closest friends, so that if anything does happen and people kind of do target him, that they'll be able to stand up for him. All
right, thank you very much indeed. Catherine, your argument is similar, that we need to give the children, the teenagers of 2019 Ireland, a little bit more credit.
Yeah, I think so. I think we need to give our kids more credit for dealing with stuff now, and it's so important for them to be talking about stuff, especially at 14.
Do you think that he will, because obviously this is what this woman is worried about, that by telling people in the school, I mean, if he tells one person in the school, the whole school will know about it within minutes. And she's obviously thinking with her own school head on, remembering when she was in school. But do you think things have moved on that much that there is no fear of him telling his friends he's gay?
I think so, yeah, and I think the lads will probably think it's no big deal. I mean, we're living in a society now where boys can be girls if they want, and girls can be boys. And people can be neither.
That doesn't mean, I know we are, but that doesn't mean everybody accepts it.
Yeah, but I think if he seems to have a good head on his shoulders if he feels that he can speak to his friends about this, and his mum and dad his family sound like they're very supportive. So if he had a small group of friends around him that he can talk, as much as mummies like to do everything, they need their friends for some stuff. They need their friends to be talking to as well.
Okay, stay there for 1 second. Let me have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note from Trish. Just sent into us.
Does anybody ever think that maybe this young fella wants to come out because they're all talking about girls and what girl they like, and maybe he just feels like if they knew that he was gay, that maybe they'd be more understanding and that he could feel more included with his friends. Also, I don't blame the man, because depending on the area that you're in, I mean, kids nowadays still use quite offensive terms when it comes to gay people. So for all you know, there could be kids in his school that still use those terms, and she's afraid that he'd be called bad names or being ridiculed for it. So there's no harm coming out and saying that you're gay if that's what he really feels he wants to do, and all she can do is support him. If he does get bullied, let him feel included with his friends. Say he doesn't like girls, he's gay, so what?
And I agree, so what? Rachel, tell me what happened to your 14-year-old.
This weekend, actually, she came and she told me on, say, last week that she was gay, and she knew, and she said, I wanted to tell my dad myself, and I let her do that, and then because she was more worried of how we'd react, but to us it meant nothing. We still love her, she's still our daughter, we have other kids as well, and we never put pressure on them, to be a certain thing. But she was out, she told her two best friends, and she said she has support from them, but she doesn't feel the need to have to tell the whole class, no more than her friends feel the need to say that they're straight. You know,
this was the argument that I was having a couple of minutes ago, or in fact somebody sent it in by message. You know, we live in a day and age that you don't have to shout it from the rooftops anymore. Coming out was a big thing at one stage because it was so different, it was so unusual. Society didn't accept it, so it was a big thing. But your daughter is even feeling that there's no need to.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was probably a big thing to tell us, her parents, first of all, because you don't know the reaction, I suppose, with the way people are. And she knows one person already who has come out to their parents, and it was a very negative reaction, you know. So it was a bit scary, that. But with regards to her friends, I do think the young people of today are much more level-headed, and, you know, it's not such a big deal. Yes, there might be the odd slagging, but there's slagging, like that other woman said, there's slagging if you get your hair cut funny or if you wear something very quirky and different. But I think she has told two close friends, and
they were cool.
She felt. They were cool. They said they didn't have a problem with it, but she doesn't feel that she needed to go tell everyone else either. You know, if they find out, they find out in their own time. But, you know, she didn't. Yes,
just like we don't run around telling everybody we're straight. There's also no need to be running around telling everyone you're gay.
Yeah, no, she didn't feel herself under that pressure. I suppose she just wanted to get it off her chest and let us know. Her two best friends know, and as far as she's concerned, anyone else can find out whenever.
All right, and is that the advice that you would give to? This woman, should she tell her son to do whatever it is he wants to do?
Yeah, I think let them do. You know, it's probably a lot of pressure for them to come out straight away, first of all, anyway. And if he feels that he needs to tell one or two friends, there's no harm in that. You know, they'll have his back or they'll support him, or you find out who your friends are anyway.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, you know, he's 14. He's got to make his own choices, and she should be, like, encouraging him to go with it. I know as a mum, you want to protect them.
Oh, sorry, we just lost her. I don't know what happened there. All right, thanks very much indeed for your call. I think the majority of calls, and this is for that lady, Kathy, who I know is listening to us this morning, the majority of calls and messages coming into us today are, let your son do what he wants to do. But listening to that lady there, her daughter told the family, told her best friends, and she doesn't see the need to tell the whole wide world. So it's up to him, and let him do what he wants to do. And he might, think about whether there's a need to tell the whole world, just his friends. All right, thank you very much indeed. This is 98fm's Dublin Talks. I'm Adrian Kennedy. We're here till midday today. Now, on the way after the break, how do you fancy winning yourself a pair of tickets for IMC Cinemas? Well, I have them here, right here. There they are. And you could win them right now by sharing with us your blonde moment. I love this bit of the show. This is where you publicly humiliate yourself by admitting something that you did that was just plain embarrassing or stupid. We call it blonde moments. Share with us your blonde moment right now. Call us on 6797 981. Text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Blonde moments is next. 98. It's 11 o'clock across Dublin. Good morning. This is Adrian Kennedy. This is 98fm's Dublin Talks. And this is Trish with Wednesday's top headlines.
Thanks, Adrian. Nearly 1,200 people die in Ireland every year because of poor air quality. The report from the Environmental Protection Agency says Irish air quality falls below World Health Organisation guidelines, but it does meet EU rules. A report by UN scientists is warning people against buying coastal properties, claiming there will be unprecedented ice melt in the next 30 years. The study says climate change is making oceans rise, lose oxygen and get more acidic. Plans for 700 new build-to-rent apartments on Dublin's south side have been fast-tracked to Onboard Planola. Dunleary Rathdown County Council assessed the proposals for 3 different sites in Stillorgan and Dundrum at a recent meeting. However, not a single unit is planned for sale. And a new range of dolls is giving children the option to break away from gender stereotypes. The figures come with a combination of outfits and hairstyles. And now up to date on 98.
98fm's Dublin Talks. Call 6797 981.
It's Wednesday morning. I'm here and Jeremy's there, and it is time for you to share with us Your blonde moments. We love this bit of the show. We do this every Wednesday. A blonde moment is exactly what it says on the tin. It's that gobshitey thing that you did that you're embarrassed about. But we want you to share with us what that blonde moment was, and you could win yourself a pair of passes for IMC Cinemas.
Now, I have an absolute classic this week from my lovely wife. Picture the scene. Last week, we're driving in the car and we're driving through Dundrum.
Okay, very good,
and, as we're driving through Dundrum, there's a big billboard for Centre Parks. You know Centre Parks? Mm-hmm. The place in Longford. And the ad shows Centre Parks in Longford. For those of you who don't know what Centre Parks is, it's like, how would you describe Centre Parks? It's a new sort of Mosney. Well, it's a bit better than Mosney.
It's a lot better
than Mosney was. But it's a sort of a... How would you describe it?
Holiday camp.
A holiday camp. It's a holiday camp. An upper class holiday camp. Anyway, she sees a big billboard for Centre Parks in Longford. And on the billboard, it has a photograph of Centre Parks. And it says, it's always 29.3 degrees at Centre Parks, Longford. That's what the ad says. So, picture, huge billboard, picture Centre Parks, Longford, and the big caption in big letters, it's always 29.6 degrees or whatever it is in Longford. And we're driving along, and my wife's looking at it, and she goes, Jesus, Jeremy. I says, yes, darling. What's the issue here? She says, is Longford far south? What are you talking about? Where is Longford? And I said, well, Longford's the west of Ireland.
Northwest.
The northwest of Ireland. She says, how come it's so much warmer in Longford than it is in Dublin? Is the weather that much different? I was like, what are you talking about? She says, the ad for Centre Parks, it's bloody Baltic in Dublin today, and they're saying that in Longford it's 29.6 degrees. How is that possible? Well, I nearly crashed the car, I'll be honest with you. So after I regained my composure, I explained to my wife that... will you explain, Adrian? Will you explain?
It's a holiday camp, and it's a lot of it is indoors, and the indoor parts is always 29 point whatever it is degrees.
Yes, the actual temperature in Longford
isn't any different. In fact, it's probably worse than it is here.
Well, that'd be probably the same, wouldn't it?
Right, that's a blonde moment, all right. What was your blonde moment? Call us right now on 6797981. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Shannon, you're on 98FM. How are you, Shannon?
How's it going?
Shannon, put a smile on our face. Tell us about your blonde moment.
Well, one of the days, I think it was about 16, I came home from school and we're having dinner and I was eating it, but I was just like, oh, that's lovely chicken, and it ended up being fish. But I was convinced to the fact that I was going to be crying. They had to go to the recycling bin, take in the box to prove to me
that it was actually fish and not chicken.
Yeah, I don't know now. Even today, I would never be able to tell the difference if I see it again. It just tastes like chicken. Like
it must have been very tough fish.
I just was convinced.
Because fish, generally speaking, kind of melts in your mouth. Yeah. So it must have been fairly tough fish.
It was weird. I was crying. I was like, it's chicken. You weren't listening. I was like, for God's sake.
I have to be honest.
Did it have a leg? Did it have legs, like?
Legs?
You know the way a chicken has, like, legs? And
oh, yeah. No, it was like a battered thing. It was just like...
It was a goujon, Adrian.
Oh, it was a goujon, right.
By the way, if you're out at a dinner party and a goujon comes out and it still has legs on it, don't eat it, okay? No, but I was at an event there recently, Shannon, and they were going around at the event and they had these big trays of finger food, and on them were goujons, chicken goujons and fish goujons, and I'll be honest with you as well, I couldn't tell the difference between a fish goujon and a chicken goujon.
Can you not?
You wouldn't?
No.
Well, if it's all like batter or breadcrumbs, then you probably won't be able to tell the difference. I mean, thank you very much, Shannon, for your blonde moment. What is yours? Call us now, 67979 981. Text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note with your blonde moment, just like Terry did.
42 now, and up until a few years ago, I thought a hamburger was a handburger because you held it in your hand, and after all, it's not made of ham, it's made of beef. Terry, your question.
Actually,
why are they called hamburgers?
If somebody can explain that to us, maybe somebody actually has the answer to that question. It is they're called a hamburger, and a hamburger,
H-A-M.
H-A-M, not a handburger. A hamburger, and ham comes from a pig, but they're actually made with beef. So why are they called a hamburger? If somebody knows the answer to that. Now, I know you can also call them beef burgers.
Well, for years I thought it was a han burger, H-A-N, but it's ham, isn't it?
No, ham, as in ham.
Like when you go to McDonald's, is it called a hamburger?
Yeah.
It is called a hamburger.
It is called a hamburger.
And is it ham in them?
No, it's beef.
How do you know?
I just know it is. Says it. If anybody knows why what is actually a beef burger is called a hamburger.
And sorry, I'm after getting a text message about Centre Parks.
Yep.
About the temperature that it says. It says, you're wrong, Jeremy, it's 36.3 degrees. What's the temperature in Longford?
It's not 36.3. If it was 36.3, you'd have people collapsing all over Centre Parks. Seriously.
That's a bit extreme.
36.3 is what you'd get in the Sahara. Okay.
So you have a load of people coming back from Longford like sunburned.
If you remember during the summer, they hit 37 degrees in London and people were fainting. Right? So, no, you're wrong, whoever you are.
So what's the temperature?
Come to Centre Parks where you'll collapse with the heat.
Allegedly.
No, 29 would be more copable.
But what is the temperature in the ad?
I don't know. I haven't seen the ad.
Oh, have you never seen the ad?
You're the one who saw the ad.
They're literally everywhere.
I haven't seen it yet, no. Susan, tell us about your son's blonde moment.
Okay, so it happened just there before the school year started, and he was running late for his school bus. So I was actually outside hanging out some washing in my pyjamas and nightgown, and Scott decided to come out, say, "Bye, ma'am, I'll talk to you after," and he locked me out of my own house. So he locked me out. The side gate was locked. I had no way of getting out. I was screaming for him in the back garden, hoping he'd hear me before he got on the school bus.
And he was gone.
He was gone. He left me. I was in the back garden for nearly 2 hours waiting to be rescued.
Oh, dear.
I had to, lucky to God, I had my phone in my pocket of my nightgown. And I rang my sister-in-law, and all she could do was laugh at me. So she had to finish feeding the baby. And she said, once I finish feeding the baby, I'll come down. So to make matters worse, it started to rain on me. So I was sitting outside for an hour or so.
Oh, you poor thing.
All I could do was just go, I'm going to effing kill him when he comes home. And I text him. He didn't get the messages till after school. And he goes, I'm really sorry. So he knew before he came home he was in so much trouble.
Oh, that's brilliant. We actually have a problem in our house. We're always locking each other out because we're in this habit of every time.
That's deliberate, by the way.
Of every time we close the back door, we also lock it. It's just something we've all gotten into the habit of.
Yeah, see, and ours is a big solid door, so there was no way getting in or no. And I looked so pathetic. I was outside soaking wet, and the two little dogs looking at me to say, "Well, where's my breakfast?"
Do you not keep a key? Like we have a key under our gnome. Oh, jeez, I shouldn't have said that. I would have robbed the house. What was I thinking?
What were you thinking?
No, I'm too afraid to do that because I was afraid somebody would see me doing it.
Yeah.
Kind of way. So I'm very anxious when it comes to stuff like that.
And in fact, if you were listening to Phone Watch, we had Phone Watch on the show last week about house break-ins, and one of the things they tell you not to do is leave a key around your property because somebody.
But who's going to check my gnome? Well, everybody's going to check it now. But
they're all going to check it now.
Yeah.
Because they walk around and they go, where would I hide a key? And they go straight for the gnome.
But it's sellotaped underneath the gnome.
I'd find it now.
Well, that was his blonde moment. And
That's
he's
brilliant.
never lived it down because every time he's going out, I was like, do you have a key? So I'm only short of just sellotaping a key to his inside pocket of his trousers so that I don't get locked out.
By the way,
it's gas because if he didn't have his key that day, so if he came home and I was still sitting in the back garden, he still wouldn't have got in.
I have this vision of you abandoned in your own back garden. Well done, Susan. Thanks for sharing that story.
By the way, Susan, did you know it's always 62.8 degrees in Centre Parks, Longford?
That's nearly boiling point.
Bring the kids.
Bring the kids.
Thanks, Susan. Bye. Now, okay, why is a hamburger called a hamburger? I need to know the answer to this. Michael reckons he has the answer.
Because they were invented in Hamburg. Exactly the same reason why the Frankfurter is called a Frankfurter.
That's definitely not true. Hamburgers were invented in America.
I would have thought so. Ronald is from America, isn't he?
Well, he didn't invent the hamburger, or did he?
I don't know.
I'll find out.
Okay, will you please? Richard's daughter had a blonde moment.
Hi Adrian, a funny thing happened to my daughter and her friends when they were singing in karaoke before, and they were up on stage singing through the song, and it came to the section where it went to instrumental, and one of the girls just kept going, instrumental, 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 and everybody was mortified and laughing at her at the same time. Sorry I can't come on. Bye-bye.
Great story, Richard. Thanks very much indeed. Did you find out the
happened
answer?
to you, by the way?
What? Yeah,
What happened to Richard?
No.
Has it not?
No.
It's very easy when you're singing karaoke and it does say instrumental on it, though, isn't it, on the screen?
It's never happened to me because I only ever sing one song and I know the one song without having to read it off a screen.
Which is?
Sweet Caroline's the only song I actually know all the words off from start to finish. Now, did you find out about the hamburger? No. Was it invented in Hamburg?
Oh, sorry, somebody just tweeted us now. Oh, God. Thank you, Natalie. The answer is the common belief that the American hamburger borrowed its name from a dish called Hamburg beef is wrong. So it didn't come from Hamburg, is what we can tell, but we don't know the answer.
Does anybody know
Just
why?
call it a bloody burger.
Yeah, but it is actually essentially a beef burger, but why is it called a hamburger?
No, because vegans have taken it over now. Vegans literally robbed the word burger from us. No, they have, though.
No.
Haven't you noticed that?
Somebody must know the answer to this definitively. I want a definitive answer. Okay?
I have to go home.
Alan,
and get the key away from the gnome. I'm just seriously worried about that.
The key is under the gnome. Alan, welcome to 98FM.
Morning, lads.
Alan, tell me about your wife's blonde moment.
I actually have a couple now. They're two parlours, but we were lying in bed one morning and she gets up and she pulls across the blinds and there's a couple of car alarms going off outside. And she turns around to me and goes, she goes, the electricity must have went last night. I was like, why? She goes, the car alarms are going off.
Really?
Yeah, well, they may have been electric cars.
Well...
No.
She hasn't even better one than that. We were at a wedding one day, and not ready to come out of the stairs. They give you the soup. So all the bowls of soup are put down on the table, and that she gives one of my mates a nudge, and she goes, give us the bowl of croutons there. And he's like, what? She goes, give us the bowl of croutons. And he goes, you mean the cubes of sugar?
What, she was going to put cubes of sugar into the soup as croutons?
Yeah.
And you married this woman?
I was long time married by then I was. There's no getting out now.
That's a great story. Thanks very much indeed, Alan.
Cheers,
6797981 is our telephone number. You can text, WhatsApp or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Now, there are claims and there are counter-claims as to the
origins.
Why a hamburger, which is essentially a beef burger, is called a hamburger. And we will find out the answer. Somebody says...
Here, by the way, can I just tell you, I'll go to sleep happy tonight not knowing. Like it's
No, I need to know now.
It's really not going to change my life at all.
It's become an issue in my world now that I need to know the answer. Why do McDonald's not sell beef burgers? Well, they do sell beef burgers. Claire sent me this message. My blonde moment happened this morning when I came to work. There's 2 locks on the door and the bottom one has been broken for a long time. My boss gave me a new key for the lock and told me to throw out the old key as he had changed the lock. I went out and when I got back to work, I realised I was locked out. I threw out the key for the top lock and the 2 keys I had were for the bottom lock that wasn't even locked. So she basically threw out the wrong key. Well done, Claire. And Mary had a blonde moment.
I was talking to somebody recently about a 50th birthday party, and this lady who I was talking to said, I think I was at her 40th birthday now. It's been a few years ago, hasn't it? I said, yeah, 10.
Very good.
Wasn't that like the person that famously was interviewing the Corrs and asked the Corrs where they met? Do you never remember that interview years ago? I think it was on MTV back in the day when they used to interview pop stars, and they had the Corrs in the studio. And the person was interviewing and said, welcome to whatever the radio station. And now you're at the Corrs. Tell us where you first met.
Really?
They were like, well, at birth, actually.
Joan, tell us about your blonde moment.
My blonde moment was actually so embarrassed. I can't even believe I'm telling you. But I was talking to one of the teachers at my kids' school. She had taught my kids maybe 2 years previous. And she'd gone down to senior infants. And I said to her, geez, it must be great now teaching the small ones. It's great to neuter them, isn't it? And she was kind of thinking, I actually mean, like I didn't correct myself. I just kept talking, but I was actually meant to say nurture. But I never knew.
Yeah, dirty looking gobshite. That's a great story as well, John. Thanks very much indeed. And Wayne.
Yes, how are you?
I'm good, Wayne. Thank you. Now, Wayne, why is a beef burger actually called a hamburger?
It's called a hamburger because originally the beef for the hamburger was supposed to come off a ham of beef, which is part of the cattle. That's why.
You did ask, by the way.
I did ask, and I'm not satisfied with the answer, but say that again. The ham of beef.
Ham of beef is part of a beast, part of a cow. It's called a ham of beef, and that's originally the meat that was supposed to be used for a hamburger. Hence the name ham of beef.
But isn't ham from a pig?
No. Ham is from a pig when it's salted, but the name of it, basically the leg of a cow from the hip down, is called a ham of beef. That's the name for it.
Right.
And that's originally where the beef was supposed to come for a beef burger.
Jeez, I'd say you're great fun at parties.
well, you see...
And we won Butcher of the Year this year in 98 FM.
Oh, he's a butcher.
He's a butcher.
He's a butcher, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, contrary to your belief, Wayne...
Yes.
Somebody sent this in to me. The common belief is that the American hamburger borrowed its name from a dish called Hamburg-style beef or Hamburg steak.
Okay.
Which arrived in the United States from the German city of Hamburg.
Hamburg, okay.
The dish was nothing more than chopped meat eaten raw, apparently.
Okay.
So you're wrong, Wayne. By the way, Wayne, is there such a thing as a vegetarian butcher?
No.
How could there be?
How could there be? I don't think there could be.
How could there possibly be a vegetarian butcher?
I have a friend who lives in London, yeah? In a place called Streatham, I think it's called, in London. And she was telling me the other day that her local butcher's is a vegetarian.
As in, he's a vegetarian himself?
He's a vegetarian himself, but he's a butcher.
Oh, I thought you meant selling, being a butcher but not selling any meat.
No,
that's what I thought you meant.
Yeah,
that'd be a greengrocer, Adrian. No, this fella's a butcher in her local village, and he's actually a vegetarian butcher.
Oh, that could be possible. Yeah.
Have you ever met one, though?
Never. No,
I haven't myself. Thanks, Wayne.
All right, lads. Have a good day.
Thank you. Let's just squeeze one or two more in. Lisa's husband had a bit of a blonde moment.
Lads, my husband will kill me for saying this. His blonde moment. He thought that 5 a day of your fruit and veg had to be 5 different pieces of fruit or veg. So if he ate 5 apples, he only had eaten 1 of his 5 a day. Anyway, he'll kill me for saying it. Good luck.
Finally, Tracy, you had a blonde moment this morning.
Yes, it's my mother's anniversary today, and I went to the florist and got a beautiful bouquet of flowers.
Very nice.
I go up to the grave, and the girl said, "Do you want a card?" And I said, yeah, I'd like to give us a happy birthday, not thinking. Writes the cards at the grave. Then I looked and went, oh my God. So I'm standing there and I'm laughing at my mum, and I'm saying she's probably laughing down at me because now on her anniversary, she has a card that says happy birthday. Yes, I think I need more coffee.
And would your mum have had a sense of humour? Would she find that funny?
Oh, she'd be saying, what are you doing? Honestly, she'd find it hilarious. She'd be saying, that's typical Stacey.
That's a great story, Tracy.
I would say, Tracy, that happens a lot more than people, they give the wrong card or they buy the wrong card.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But like from your daughter doing it, I should be getting it right.
And then coming on the radio and telling everybody about it as well.
I don't mind. I'm like a Malteser, dark on the outside, blonde on the inside.
Do you know what I'm going to do, Tracy?
Yeah.
Buy her a proper card?
No. I'm going to give you passes for IMC Cinemas just for sharing that story of you being in El Egypt this morning, giving your mammy a birthday card in the graveyard.
Thank you.
Well done, Tracy. We'll be in touch with you in a couple of minutes, but cinema passes for IMC Cinemas are
yours. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks very much indeed, Tracy. This is 98 FM.
98 FM's Dublin Talks with QuoteDevil.ie, car and van insurance specialists for difficult to insure cases. 98 FM.
And this is Adrian Kennedy. We're with you until midday this Wednesday. Now, a lady called Maria has been in contact with us about a topic that we've never discussed on the show before, yet it's something that a lot of households have to deal with. What happens in a situation where there are two parents, one of them is a stay-at-home parent, the other goes to work and works hard? Should the stay-at-home parent be left to do all the housework? Well, Maria contacted us yesterday with her issue. Here is the message that she sent us, and I'd love to hear from you. She was to talk to us today, by the way, and is now not talking to us because she's afraid she'll get too upset. Have a listen to her email. Would you be upset about this? I'm wondering if you could talk about roles in the home. I'm a new mum and I'm off work and will be staying off work. I'm finding this new role hard and find that my other half doesn't seem to understand. Just because I'm at home with the baby does not mean that I should be doing all of the housework, does it? I seem to spend all my time picking up after him and cleaning up after him, and this is really starting to get to me. He works very hard all day, don't get me wrong, and this is great. But when he comes home, he doesn't lift a finger. I find it very unfair as I spend 24/7 minding the baby, and this in itself is very hard, but then having to make sure the house is tip-top is so annoying, as I think it should be 50-50. If we both worked, it would probably fall to me too. I'd love to know what percentage of families have mam do everything, and I'd love to know what your listeners think. Should I just be getting on with it? Is my new role mammy and cleaner? Or should I pull him up on it and say enough is enough? He can't even change a loo roll. And as I said, that's from a lady called Maria, who was to talk to us on the show today, but decided not to because she'll get too upset. So this is a big issue for Maria. A new mother decided to stay off work for a very important role as mammy and looking after the child. But now she finds herself, because she's at home, he is doing nothing around the house. Absolutely nothing. I'd love to hear from you. How does it work in your house? In terms of, if you are a stay-at-home mam, or stay-at-home dad for that matter, do you do all the housework? Call me right now on 6797 981. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Now, she says by her own admission that he's out working, he works long hours, he's out working very hard, but he doesn't lift a finger when he's at home. So she has to do absolutely everything. Anya, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Anya?
Hi, Adrian. How are you? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. I just want to say, Marie, my heart goes out to you because your husband is Irish. I guarantee it. He's not foreign.
Right, okay.
Because Irish men, I love Irish men. I'm Irish. Okay? My brothers are Irish. My husband was Irish. Unfortunately, he passed away. But Irish men go. But this man is Irish and he's looking for a mother. Okay? She is at home bringing up a child, which I've done on my own. It is so hard. And that's her job. She's raising a child to grow into an adult and hopefully produce, good things for his country or her country, the child. But this fella's looking for a mammy. And should she be picking up his socks? Cringe. I put them in the bin.
Oh, so she needs to start getting tough then?
Not tough. You see, it's all this tough business. The biggest reason couples fight are money and housework.
Yes.
Money and housework. Stop fighting, people. You're raising children and they can feel things. Pick up your own socks, love, whoever you are. Because if you wanted to marry your mammy, that's weird.
Right, okay. So, okay, firstly, this is an Irish man thing.
100%. Any of my foreign friends with foreign lads, they come home from work and they're sweating over the food. What would you like, my love? Yeah.
So what should she do?
She should throw his socks in the bin. Yeah?
Because she does say that she's picking up everything.
No one's asking her. She's a victim, you see. Some Irish women are
she's
victims.
A victim. Oh, I see. I see. So she says, I seem to spend all my time picking up after him and cleaning up after him.
Who asked you to, love? No.
Well, she wants to keep her house nice and tidy.
Well, she can't have her cake and eat it. So either stop your moan and throw the socks in the bin. Or clean up his socks and keep stum. Like, what's all this? Listen, I wouldn't be having it. Now, unfortunately, my husband died, God love him, young. But if he, there would have been none of that carry on.
You wouldn't have put up with it?
Well, it's not fair. It breeds contempt.
Well, what she says is, okay, she's at home with the baby and she's going to be staying at home, okay?
Yeah,
but she says he does work very hard all day, don't get me wrong, and this is great.
And what does she do? Watch Days of Our Lives?
I wouldn't have thought that that's all that she does.
But
no,
have you ever had the small baby, Adrian?
Have I ever had a small baby?
Yeah.
I have, yes, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so you know what's involved there. You probably leg it to work every day with a smile on your face. Bye, love, I'm off for a rest. I mean work. So staying at home, raising a child, I've done that on my own. I've worked on my own. I've done the whole kit and caboodle on my own. And when I hear these women, some of us don't have a partner. You know? Some of us are single parents. We're doing the whole kit and caboodle. So this lady clearly needs to stop moaning.
And just get on with it?
Get on with it. Either bin his socks or wash them. But, you know, there's people out there with real problems. No offence.
Now you have me confused, Anya. Should this woman just continue to do what she's been doing? Or should she stand up to her husband and say, enough is enough?
It's not about standing up to her husband. It's about sitting him down and going, did you marry your mammy, love? I'm your wife. You're equal. You know, so I know you're at work, but I'm at work raising our child. That's a lot of work, like babies and crying and food and they'd wreck your head. But, you know, this kind of she's breathing contempt because I don't know. There's something, I would say it's more than the socks, Adrian.
Okay. All right, stay there for a second, Anya. Kane, you're a bit upset with Anya, who's basically saying this is an Irish man thing.
Yeah, Adrian, I have 3 children.
Yeah.
I work full time. My missus is at home with the children. She does a fantastic job. Sometimes it gets on top of her. Like, I come home from work, I'll help her out. I've done the night feeds. It was 50-50. She done the night on, I done the night on. It's not like that cack there about it's an Irish man thing. And you're fishing out with her, Adrian. She doesn't even know what she wants. She's going to have.
I'm confused after talking to her. Yeah.
Exactly. She's going to have to realise, and most people are going to have to realise, it's almost a hereditary thing. If a woman stays at home and a man goes out, it's the hunter-gatherer sort of feel. Now, look, I'm not saying I want any woman to stay at home and clean my socks all day. But what I'm saying is, if you're at home with the child and you can do it, by all means, it's a great help for the family dynamic. And our children are going to grow up and find out that family dynamic from that. And onwards, look, Adrian, we've all heard stories. My grandmother had 9 children, and when me grandfather died, and she worked as well, and there was no one there that she could give out to or moan about or blame it on Irish men. It's nothing to do with Irish men. It's men in general, because it's almost in us. It's just actually in us. You know, we went out, we provided the food, they provided, you know, a nurturing home.
So, okay, what do you make then of Maria's message, where basically her husband is out working very hard, she admits that, but he's not helping around the house? She thinks it should be 50-50.
Okay, yeah, he should be helping her, by all means. He absolutely should be helping her out. Like, having a new child, whether it's 1, 2 or 10, having a new child in the house is a difficult thing. It really is. And if she's a new mammy and it's at first time...
And she is a new mammy, yeah.
Yeah, it's completely overwhelming, absolutely. And if he had 2 brain cells to rub together, he'd realise, look, it doesn't matter if I'm tired, I'm going to get to bed tonight. One way or the other, you're going to get to bed that night. And that's what I had to do. I just swallowed my pride and say, look, I come in from work, I'm absolutely knackered, I'm stinking, I'm sweating, I haven't even had a shower yet, but I'm being handed a baby to change a nappy. Do you want to know what? I understand that, because you've been here all day dealing with this. It's a compromise that if you want...
Then you're kind of agreeing.
Agreeing with what?
Are you saying that it's okay for this man to come home after a long day of work and not lift a finger?
No, not at all, Adrian. What I'm saying is, if them 2 were on their own without a child and he come home from work and didn't lift a finger, that would be understandable, because he's been out working all day. So that man has still been out working all day, he comes home and doesn't lift a finger. I get it, it's not understandable now because he has more responsibilities. But what I'm saying is, before the child came along, that was his acceptable norm. She should have some sort of conversation.
Well, no, I assume before the child came along, she was working.
Oh, yeah, of course. But what I'm saying is, I'm assuming it wasn't a situation of when he came home from work, she was kind of on top of him to do X, Y, or Z, because there was no children involved. When a child becomes involved, and it's like a partnership trying to raise this child, any self-respecting man and any man who respects his woman will come home and say, look, you've had it tough just as much as I have. Let's bite the bullet here. And
okay, so now that there's a child involved, he should be lifting the hand a little bit more than he actually is at the moment. Fair enough. I work part-time, says this message, and raise the 2 kids. My youngest daughter is 9 months. My partner works full-time. I do all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the washing, pay half the rent on my part-time wage. I've done every night feed. I pay half of everything, and I'm constantly under pressure for money. I feel for Maria, but I'd rather be at home with my kids than have to leave them to go to work and have him pay the rent. He walks in from work and walks out to go to the gym. So there are people worse off than her. And here's a message that I've been asked to play for Anya.
To say that that's an Irish attitude is absolutely wrong. I work Monday to Friday. I drive 2 hours commute back. And yeah, when I get in the door, I try my best to help out as much as I can. My wife works as well, and she does about 70% of the housework, but I still roll up my sleeves and help. Say it's an Irish attitude is absolutely insulting to the entire country.
Well, there you are, Anya. Listen to her laughing. You insulted every Irish man with your attitude.
Oh, boo-hoo. Ring your mammies and tell them. I'm sure they'll care. And the thing about it is, notice that these 2 lads are Irish. We don't have a Pedro ringing in saying, my wife would never have a chance to complain. I love her. Yeah. So these 2 buccos, you know.
All right, stay there, Anya. Hang on there for a second. Let me go to this WhatsApp voice note from John.
If he's flat out working, what's she doing at home when the baby's sleeping and that? It sounds like she wants to be a kept woman. Maybe get a maid in or something. Bit of hoovering, bit of cleaning. If you clean as you go, it takes very little time.
Oh, right. Let's put her in her box. I'd like to hear from you on 6797 981. Text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Robbie and Anne, I'll take your calls straight after the break.
98FM's Dublin Talks with QuoteDevil.ie. Insurance specialists if you've open claims or too many penalty points. 98FM.
Good morning from Adrian Kennedy. Are you doing the housework? Do you end up doing all of the housework? Well, if you are, you can relate to Maria's story. Basically, Maria's a new mum. She's off work. She's going to be staying off work, but she's finding the new role very hard because she finds that her other half doesn't understand. She says, just because I'm home with the baby doesn't mean that I should be doing all the housework. Does it? I seem to spend all my time picking up after him and cleaning up after him. This is really starting to get me. He works very hard all day, don't get me wrong, and that's great. But when he comes home, he doesn't lift a finger. I find it very unfair as I spend 24/7 minding the baby, and this in itself is very hard. But then having to make sure the house is tip-top is so annoying, as I think it should be 50-50. If we both worked, would this fall on me too? I'd love to know what percentage of families have mammy doing everything, and I'd love to know what your listeners think. Now, we were talking to Anya, who says this is an Irish man thing. Aoife completely disagrees.
It's definitely not an Irish thing. My Spanish husband would be exactly the same as that.
There you are now, Anya, okay? Oh, Spanish husband, the exact same. Doesn't lift a finger.
I'm not buying it.
No.
I bet he makes a great omelette, though.
Stay there for a second. Stay there. Hang on. Oh, she's gold. Robbie.
What's up, Adrian?
How are you, Rob?
Good.
You do all the housework anyway?
Yeah, I do everything. I mean, this will be the full bit of me. Every weekend is from 9 in the morning till 8 or 9 at night when I'm not working, and I'm going to come home from work. I tidy up, I make the dinner, then later on I'd make the tea, and the only thing my missus would do is drop the kids to school and collect them.
Really?
And as for Anya, about an Irishman thing, I was slightly going to agree with the fact that there is a lot of men, but it's in an older category of men, that do nothing.
Oh, you reckon younger men are better now, are they?
Younger men are better now because they've seen older men and how older men treated women, i.e. their fathers treating their mothers. But you need a dose of cop on. Because to slate Irish people, or Irish men in particular, to say that they do nothing in the household, you do not know what you're talking about.
Now, you obviously like doing it, Robbie, do you?
I do it because my missus can't cook. But she can cook, but she can't cook properly. And that's not having a go at her, but she can't cook properly, and she knows she can't cook properly. She handed me pasta with the water still in her before, Adrian. Do you know what I mean? And that's when we were with each other for 2 months, and I soon realised, right, you can't cook, I'll do this. But I do it because we're a family. We have 3 kids.
No, I know, but
she's going to be my wife.
Yeah. You obviously don't mind doing it, is the point that I'm trying to make.
No, but she's had to annoy me. Big time annoy me by saying it's an Irish man thing.
Anya, you're winding men up.
To be honest with you, Anya, you're borderline racist as well. You're slightly borderline racist with your omelette comment.
Sorry, go on, Anya.
I think the housework is getting to you, Pat. You might want to get
It's not getting to me. I'm out walking now. I'm actually out walking now. And then when I go home then, like the person that I am, I'll go home, and if there's something needs to be done in the house with the kids or for me missus, I'll do it.
Do you want to...
Are you in a relationship?
Sorry, I can't hear both of you. Sorry, are you in a relationship, Anya? He wants to know.
My husband died of a heart attack at 35.
Yeah, and I'm very sorry to hear that, but I asked, are you in a relationship?
Don't comment on my relationship. I'm not...
No, I didn't comment on a relationship because I don't know whether you're in a relationship, and I asked you, where are you in a relationship?
Mind your business, I said. I'm not the one complaining.
Mind my business. I guarantee you the man you want is the man that's going to walk around hand and foot for you.
Excuse me, my husband died at 35, so he didn't...
That wasn't the question he asked you, Anya. He asked, are you in a relationship?
I asked you, are you in a relationship?
Whether I'm in a relationship or not is irrelevant, because when I...
No, but it's very relevant. It's very relevant.
No, it's not very relevant.
Because you obviously don't know what the new generation of an Irish man is. Because I have many friends who have multiple kids and do jobs, and their partners do jobs, and they share everything in the household. Not one of my friends has an attitude with his partner or his wife or his girlfriend to say, you're doing everything in this house.
Let me go back to the conversation in hand, which is the message that we got from Maria. And Maria is wondering, should I pull him up on it and say enough is enough, or is that part of my role now? That's really what she's asking.
You should pull him up, Adrian. Pull him up and tell him, buck up or get out. It's as simple as that.
Oh, right.
Because it's not a one-way thing in a relationship. Whether you have kids, whether they're 9 months or 9 years old, it's a two-way thing.
So regardless of whether he's out working very hard, which he says he is, he works long hours, very hard all day, but he doesn't...
matter, Adrian. This is why I was going to agree with Anya. It doesn't matter how long he's working. Pull your weight in the house. The house is the most important part of your life. Your household, your kids, your wife. Don't be leaving her to do everything on her own and having her stressed over her head.
Okay,
how's she going to be happy if she's always stressed over her head?
Okay, so she needs to take him to task over this.
100% she does.
Okay,
but
stay
that
there.
Anya woman needs to relax with her opinions on Irish men.
Okay, stay there for a second. Terry, you're a first-time mammy as well?
Yeah.
And how's that working out in the house? I assume you're at home still, are you?
Yeah, I'm still at home at the minute, and my little boy is 3 months old, and my partner, he works from 7:30 till 6 o'clock in the evening, and he never complains. He always comes home. He'll happily do the wash up after I do dinner. He'll happily do washing. Anything I ask him to do, he'll happily do it. So it kind of annoyed me when Anya said that the stigmatization of it being Irish men. If even my own father and my stepfather, my father and my father-in-law, like, they're both really good in the sense that they'll do things for, like, my mother and my mother-in-law. There'll be no problem. So that's...
I know, but older generations, I think back to my own granddad. Jesus, the man never did a thing in the house, ever. Ever.
No, and I think that stigmatises back to when the mothers were just stay-at-home moms and they were expected to have the dinner on the table.
Yes, exactly.
All that sort of stuff. Now, my partner, he doesn't cook, but that to me is fine. Like, I'll do the cooking, but he'll clean up, he'll do the pots, the pans, dishes, whatever needs to be done. And, like, in regards to Zephyr Anya, like, really sorry to hear that her partner died at 35, but again, it's not one of them things where she's stigmatising them that obviously it has to, they must be foreign men that are doing everything. Like, that's an awful thing to say.
Okay, it's not just an Irish man thing. Luna says, when it comes to your own house, it's not helping around the house.
You know what's ridiculous? All these guys coming on saying, oh, I come in, I help, I give her a hand, I help the wife. That's ridiculous. You're not giving a hand. It's your house. It's your kids. You're doing the work. It's not helping. It's doing the work. The woman doesn't come in and say, oh, I'll give you a hand with the housework. No, it's always the other way around.
Okay, let's go to Anne. You're on 98 FM. How are you, Anne?
Yeah, grand.
Now, Anne, what's your view on this? You heard Maria's
I do agree.
message.
I agree with that last fella's after being saying, and I do agree about there is a certain percentage. And now I'd say acting under 50 is probably different today. The likes of fellas that have kids in their 30s now, and they're bringing up their children, but. It's like me, I'm at home now. I finished up with a job. I was working part-time. I get up at 7 every morning. My kids would be in bed. I get them up then. He'd lie in bed until 7:30, have their tea when they get up, and he'd go to work. Even coming in the evening, I'd be only coming in as well. But before I'd leave for work, I'd have my kids' dinner ready, and then when I come in from work, I'd have to do his dinner and my own dinner, and then I'd have to clean up, because as soon as they're fed, they all just run. And they expect and think that's what you're there for, is to clean up after them. That's the older gen. Now, I know I've my own father of 84 years of age. He always gave a hand, even worked longer hours than anyone. And he'd come in, my mother would hand him his dinner, he'd clean the kitchen. Then he'd take over at the weekend, he'd make the dinners at the weekend, he'd do the shopping, and he would help me mother out. There is a generation, I think, if you're 50, probably in your 50s, like that, men do believe in that. That's what women are there for, because their own mothers done it as well.
Okay, so what you're saying
now
is
today, even if you are working, there should be a compromise, because, as you said, everything's meant to be equal.
Okay, so she should not be accepting this. She should not be putting up with doing all of the housework, and she should call him to task over it.
Yeah, because I as well. I've 3 kids. Am I being stressed out? Your job, women's job, doesn't stop in the evening. You get up and you're doing 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. Put a partner there, and they're going to help you do the night feeds. But most of them don't help you. But there is a handful of them that will. The younger generation probably will today do it. But I done it all on my own. I done the night feeds, done the whole lot, done the dinners, done the cleaning. Like, it is great when a person comes in the evening. You do a bit of help from somebody.
Okay, so what you're saying is, gone are the days where a man just walks in the door, home from work, and does nothing.
Well, most of them do. Well, I know myself, because I'm doing it now at the minute.
But she needs to stop. She needs to stop her husband getting into that.
You do. You need to do it now at the start, and kind of sit down and have a chat with him. And I think it's more stressful when you're at home with children than going. You do know, because when you go out to a job, you're doing your own little job, and you come home in the evening and you just hear what has to be done or whatever. Oh, yeah, that's grand. But we're here 24/7 with the kids. Now, there are kids, and there are the other half's kids as well. So when you get in, it is great to hear, well, will I clean the kitchen for you? It's not... You're after doing the work by making the dinner. So I clean up, and you can go in and sit down for a minute. That is great help to somebody. Or hang out the washing, because you're after doing 50 loads during the day. It's just a cycle that's going to keep going and going and going. And a woman is mostly left to do everything. But there is probably a little handful of men there that are good today that will help out.
All right, very good. Lauren, you do all the work in the house.
I do, and I work as well. I work part-time, so I do all the kids' stuff, everything else. He wouldn't even know what the kids would eat for their lunch. He wouldn't have a clue, But now he does work long hours. He comes in, he'd be asleep on his feet when he comes in, but sometimes I get oh, my mammy would have had that done. Oh, when I was small, my mammy had everything spotless when my dad came in from work, and that drives me absolutely insane, it does.
Now, okay, does it bother you doing all the work in the house?
Like the others, I just got used to doing it. It's not. I never really thought about it really. Now I know he does. He works. He's gone for 14 hours a day. So I mean, if I didn't do it, it probably wouldn't get done. But it's a case of I just took over, and that's just what I did. And I never actually stopped to think.
So what amount of hours does he work?
Well, he leaves at 6 and he's back about 8 or 9 at night.
Oh my God, that's some day.
Yeah. So I know he does be kind of coming in with his eyes closed. So I can understand that a little bit, so he doesn't have any time to do anything else. But it's just something that I took over, and I never actually thought that. But
it says on my screen here that he'd get a bit annoyed if the house isn't clean.
So sometimes he would say, or if he comes in, sometimes and I'm sitting down, it's kind of like, So what have you done today? So if I'm sitting down, that means I've been sitting down for the whole day. I haven't done anything. It's just so...
Okay, so what do you make of what Maria is saying? Now, Maria doesn't say he's working 14-hour days or anything like that, but she does say he works hard, but he doesn't lift a finger. Should she tackle him, or should she just get on with it?
I think she's just... I think from just staying at home with the baby, I think she's not used to doing that. I think she probably has cabin fever a little bit maybe, and just feels like everything's on top of her. So he should kind of, even on the weekends or something, just take over something for her, let her feel that she has.
Okay, but he's never going to do it unless she tackles him over it.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Okay. Rob says he and his partner split the work at home.
Adrian, me and my partner raise our little one equally. Both of us work full time. She starts earlier in the morning. I bring the little one to creche, and she finishes earlier than me in the evening, and she picks the little one up. But yeah, she would do a little bit more housework than me, I suppose. But at the weekends and stuff, I'd help out more, and I would do all the maintenance in the house, i.e. anything that has to be done, repaired, fixed, made, you name it.
All right. Jason, you're on 98FM. Hi, Jason. Hello. Oh, he's not there. Okay. Justin, 98FM. How are you?
Hello, sir. How are you?
Good, thank you. You believe... what do you believe? Sorry.
Well, I instead of focusing on men's attitudes and all that jazz, to give your one a bit of advice, I'd suggest she just focuses on looking after the baby, looking after herself, and leave his stuff. Like if there's a pile of clothes at the end of the bed or the rooms and bits because he hasn't cleaned it, it'll become apparent after a couple of days, and it'll force a conversation and be more...
Okay, so just leave his dirty jocks on the ground.
Yeah.
For the whole week.
Well, for as long as it takes for him to notice, why is this getting done anymore, and then it's, well, maybe I need to step up and look after myself. Like, she has enough on her plate between the baby and herself, and if she's looking after that, that's the household still running. But if he still expects his stuff to be looked after on top of it, then that's ridiculous. Okay,
so she needs to go on kind of an industrial dispute.
Well, yeah, at least if it forces a conversation, at least it's more proactive for her.
Okay, so a strike is required, or I think most people are saying you don't have to put up with that. He should be doing something. A lot of people say we're in that situation as well, and we split it kind of 70-30, so that he does 30%. That'd be something, I suppose, Maria, but you're going to have to say it to him. She says, should I pull him up on it and say enough is enough? If it's bothering you that much, it'll only fester inside you, so yes, I would be saying it to him and get him to do something, because you shouldn't have to do it all, unless you enjoy doing it all. All right, thanks very much, Lee, for your calls. Interesting conversation, because it affects every household in Dublin. This is 98FM's Dublin Talks. We're back again tomorrow morning at 10. If you want to get in contact with us about anything that you want us to discuss on the programme, send me an email right now. The email address is dublintalks@98fm.com. I'll see you again tomorrow morning at 10. Andy Clark is on the way, and in the next hour he's got some great music lined up like these.
98FM's Dublin Talks with QuoteDevil.ie. Car and van insurance specialists for drivers with previous motoring convictions. 98FM.